radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Welcome, Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man. How you doing? Today's Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022. 81 days in the new year, only 284 days left. Let's do this, man. We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of nowhere. A total undisclosed location. But it is beautiful in here. It is. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer, and UnX Networks. Ray Hobbs. I am your host, Jimmy Church. All right, continuing tonight, another completely first-time guest week here on Fade to Black. We have very special guest, Stormy Daniels is here for the first time. We are going to be discussing ghost hunting, the paranormal, the supernatural, with spooky babes. That's what we're going to do tonight. Tomorrow night, right here, Sean Cahill. Also joining us for the first time, we're going to be talking about the subject of UAPs, Skyfort, and beyond. All of that is tomorrow night right here on Fade to Black. Thursday is another Fader night with open lines all night long. Now, everybody knows that I just got back from Sedona. It's a very special trip. But during that trip, I got to go out and have dinner and hang out for the night with Carolyn Ford. And Carolyn has been a supporter and a sponsor of this show for many, many years. It's where I get my crystal skulls from. And you need to go and get your next crystal skull, your first crystal skull. Get it from Carolyn Ford. EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Over at JimmyChurchRadio.com. The links are right there. You can click, head over, look at her amazing inventory of skulls. I asked her during dinner, I said, so what's your inventory looking like? And she goes, Jimmy, you have no idea. I've got the best stuff I've ever had right now. So go and check it out. I've got some things en route back here to the bunker, and I'm going to be doing some unboxing videos here very soon for you. And I know what you want to do. You want to unbox your own crystal skull, just like I do. She packs them all to everybody, the same care, the glitter, I mean, the confetti, the wrapping. It's just amazing, the presentation. And you want to do that just like I do. It's one of the most special things. Also, this time around, Carolyn and I are doing things a bit differently. Normally, I see something and I bond with it. This time around, she's like, no, Jimmy, no. I'm vibing with you. So I don't know what's coming. I have no idea. It's really going to make these unboxing videos very special. Go to EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com today and use the promo code Jimmy. That's all you got to do. JIMMY. 10% off of your Crystal Skull order. Go and do it. EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. That's right, at JChurchRadio. The Sandbox is hashtag F2B on Twitter. It's right in front of me. You Fadernauts built, you gave yourselves a name, the Fadernauts. You named the Sandbox on Twitter. You did that. Hashtag F2B. That's all you. And it's always live right in front of me. One of the special parts of this show every single night. So come and hang out with us. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Hashtag F2B is the Sandbox. It's literally right in front of me right now. Ken Priest, Triscale, Kaz. What is that? Amara Biden? Is that a thing? Chuckles is there. And Cassandra and Steven, Justin, Nexus. Oh, Christina Gomez. Tweeting out right there, hashtag F2B in the Sandbox. Go and hang out with us all night long. There's Donnie. He just popped in. Come and hang out with us right there. Okay, hashtag F2B. That's F, the number 2, and the letter B, F2B. Let's get to the breaking news. Huge news today announced. There are now more than 5,000 confirmed planets beyond our solar system. All of this according to NASA. The latest addition of 65 exoplanets to the NASA Exoplanet Archive contributed to the scientific milestone marked yesterday. This archive is the home to the exoplanet discoveries from peer-reviewed scientific papers that have been confirmed using multiple methods of detecting the planets. So far, of the confirmed exoplanets, 30% are gas giants, like Jupiter. 31% are super Earths, and 35% are Neptune-like. Just 4% are terrestrial or rocky planets like Earth or Mars. 20 years ago, in 2002, there were only about 100 known exoplanets. How far we have come. More on that in just a bit. The United States, first woman to fly into space, has lifted off on a new mission, this time to orbit the nation in the form of a new coin. Yesterday, the U.S. Mint began shipping the Dr. Sally Ride Quarter, the second coin in its American Women Quarters program, struck at the Mint's facilities in both Denver and Philadelphia. The 25-cent pieces, each displaying an engraving depicting the late astronaut, should begin showing up at banks around you and in the change tendered at stores over the next 3 to 4 weeks. Very cool. I can't wait to get my Sally Ride Quarter. Gonna get one. All right. Well, according to an Ars Technica report, this is very interesting. I wanted to share this with you. Researchers from Mexico's National Institute of Anthropology and History discovered a 700-year-old offering to the war god, I can't even say the name, Huitzilopochtli, at the Templo Mayor, which is located in the Aztec capital of, Tenochtitlan. The offering was made during the expansion of the temple in 1486 and included 164 chocolate chip starfish, named for its light color and dark spots. Chunks of coral and the starfish in the offering traveled 150 miles to the temple from the western end of the Gulf of Mexico. Absolutely crazy. Great photographs, too. You need to go and check that out. Let's get the show cracking. Happy birthday to today, Reese Witherspoon. Reese Witherspoon, today 45 years old. Captain Kirk, Bill Shatner, today 90 years old. Matthew Modine says today that he's only 62. And guitar god, George Benson, today is 79. Our dead guy's birthday today is Keith Relf. 1943 to 1976, died at the age of 33. Keith, of course, was the lead vocalist and harmonica player for the Yardbirds. His blues harp and vocals were key to the Yardbirds' sound and success, as were the group's three superstar lead guitarists, Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, and Jimmy Page. He co-wrote many of the original Yardbirds songs, including Shapes of Things, Over, Under, Sideways, Down, my favorite, Happenings 10 Years Time Ago. He also sang an early version of Dazed and Confused. You can check that video out. Go and watch it in live Yardbirds concerts, which was later, of course, recorded by the band's successor group, Led Zeppelin. Keith died in the basement of his home on May 12, 1976, at the age of 33, from electrocution while playing an electric guitar. That's rock and roll right there. Happy birthday, Keith. On this day in history, 1933. Yeah, big day. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt legalizes the sale of beer and wine. And with it, a federal tax on all alcoholic beverages. On this day in 1933. Fader fact. In 1429. Okay, now, just listen to me. And I love it when I do the Fader facts each night, and I know I get your attention, and you guys, you're writing things down, and like, wow, that's crazy. And here's another one, and I vetted this. I went, and it's just too incredible. So I had to go back and vet it, and it's vetted. This is an official Fader fact. Because in 1429, King Charles VII of France exempted the town of Domremy from paying taxes forever. That's right. After a promise he made to Joan of Arc. 350 years later, taxes were imposed again during the French Revolution in 1789. That's crazy. And that is your Fader fact. Tonight, Stormy Daniels is here for the first time. It's ghost hunting tonight with Spooky Babes. Tomorrow night, Sean Cahill is also here for the first time. We're going to be talking about the subject of UAPs, Skyfort. Have you done your homework on Skyfort? Yeah, you need to go and check out Skyfort. We're going to be talking about that tomorrow night and everything else that's going on in our universe when it comes to UAPs. All right. Thursday night's another Fader night with open lines all night long. And now it's time for me to hit this River Moon Coffee Fade to Black blend. I like my coffee, Doc. I do. Rivermoonwellness.com. I love my job. I do. I truly love my job. I love all of you. Best audience in the world. Best audience. What a great show tonight. I have the feeling, I already know, this is going to be a totally awesome show tonight. Stormy Daniels will be with us in a few minutes, but something strange. I love synchronicities. They happen all the time, not coincidences. I'm talking about synchronicities. And now, last night, I was trying to finish a book that I picked up last year, and I've been reading it off and on, and there's reasons why I haven't finished it. I'll get to all that in just a minute, but It's called something like I don't have it in here. I forgot to bring it in. I was going to show, but it's something like Aliens: The Search for Exoplanets, right? And I was powering through. It's a great book. It was a great book in 2018. Again, I'll come back to that. But today we get the big announcement from NASA. Finally crossing the official plateau of 5,000. Yeah, and it's strange, right? Sure. But these things are expected in my world. I didn't know that I was going to wake up to this news today. Thank you, Renee. But the book itself is a collection from scientists and astronomers, and different thoughts and ideas who are out there doing the work, right? Searching for worlds beyond our star system, and it's really cool. But here's the deal. The book was published in 2018. I just mentioned that. And although it's great, it's also totally outdated. That's right. It's only 4 years old, right? And honestly, it's just a time capsule of what the views and technology and data were back then. And it's actually a tough read because that data, the stats and the theories, they're just so far off. But it does show us how far we have come since then. And that is one of the reasons why I haven't finished the book, because the data is so off and the theories, and I just know. Well, anyway, but it puts me in check. It shows me how far we have come. And I do realize how much I try to emphasize that and I do this all the time on the show. I do it a couple of times a week. I want to make everybody aware of what is going on today and how quickly it's happened. Because just 30 short years ago, 30, that's it, 1992, right? The first confirmation of a detection happened, 1992. A different planet initially detected in 1988, that wasn't confirmed until 2003. The first confirmation of an exoplanet orbiting a main sequence star was made in 1995, when a giant planet was found in a 4-day orbit around a nearby star, and that star was 51 Pegasi. Technically, that was number 1. Okay? But 2 were detected orbiting PSR 1257 plus 12 back in 1992, and another in 1994. But those were called pulsar planets. Okay? Now, I'll save that for another show. Okay? 1995 was number 1. Now, in 2018, researchers using the Chandra X-ray Observatory, combined with a planet detection technique called microlensing, found evidence of planets in a distant galaxy, all right, outside of our solar system, outside of our Milky Way, right? Today, estimates in galaxies that surround us put the number of more than 1 trillion exoplanets per galaxy. That's right. And there's over 1 trillion galaxies in the universe. Right now, all of this can and does reflect right back here in our own Milky Way. And everyone who contributed to the book I referenced earlier, in fact, anyone who works at a telescope on or off planet, is dealing with numbers that that are just so big and crazy that most of science today is having a hard time dealing with them. They are huge, and they're getting huger. That's right. It was such a simple an innocent conclusion 30 years ago that there were no planets out there, that our star system was unique, and Earth is even more special. The odds back then of intelligent life out there somewhere was pretty tough to prove or even theorize in the academic world. Today, well, when you take 1 trillion times 1 trillion and try to come up with the number of planets that could support life, it's very easy. Because there is a lot of intelligent life out there. I mean, a lot. And everybody knows it. The way that this is talked about today in scientific communities, scientific circles, I don't care if it's physicists or astronomers or historians, intellectuals, they all know now because they are looking at these numbers, and the numbers are insane. So I'll ask the question, how many planets out there are just like us? Not like Earth, like us. You know, kind of smart, kind of dumb, still growing up, got some electricity going on, moving forward, brains are developing, right? You get it? Well, how many? How many planets out there are just like us? Well, the answer is trillions. Not one, not maybe, but trillions. Now, here's the fascinating thing. We, as humans, have the ability to think about these things. We can work numbers, math. We can contemplate the heavens. No other species on this planet can do this. Yeah, some are smart. Dogs know 350 words and gestures, but that's not what I'm talking about. We have the ability to think about numbers out there. And we can also look at the very small and do the same thing. Atoms, particles, and what binds them, and the numbers tied to this. And the more that we crunch the numbers, take those digits out to extraordinary lengths, we know now that we are not alone in the universe or our Milky Way. It's just simply impossible. And it seems that every single day we're adding another digit on that string of numbers. And it's not going to end anytime soon, if ever. Today, it's 5,000 confirmed exoplanets, with another 5,000 waiting for a name and number for the catalog. It's 10,000 today. Now, we've got the launch and the positioning and the activation of the James Webb Space Telescope. And we have TESS working its magic. We have 2 more telescopes that are going to launch in the next 4 years. Plus the advancements of the tech with telescopes around the world on terra firma. These numbers are about to really jump. Seriously. Now, so there are 171,146 words in the dictionary today. One day in the future, there will be 1 trillion times 1 trillion exoplanets numbered, named, and listed in the Universe Planet Catalog. And that, my friends, is a pretty thick book. Think about it. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I say this is Fade to Black. I say this every day. How many times when you were a kid did you walk out in the backyard and look up at the stars and think to yourself, is there somebody out there? Is there another planet like Earth up there? And you're wondering that. Today, you don't do that. Today, you walk out in your backyard, look up at those stars, and every single one has at least one planet. Every single one. Times have changed. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Stormy Daniels is with us. That's right. Ghost hunting with spooky babes. Tonight, that is what is going down. Tomorrow night, Sean Cahill joins us for the first time for the subject, my favorite subject, besides, of course, ghosts with spooky babes. Tomorrow night, it is UAPs and Skyfort and beyond. Thursday night is another Fader night with open lines all night long. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer and UnX Networks. Race Hobbs. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll be right back after this short break with tonight's guest, Stormy Daniels. Stay right there.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the X.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net.
Introducing the Game Changer blend from Rivermoon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all Rivermoon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, folks. It's troubling times, and fear is pushing emotions, which in turn pushes health the wrong direction. Do you ever get an ache because life is uneasy? Try Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. Life Change Tea works on your digestive tract, helping to move food through quicker and comfortably so your health is spot on. Life Change Tea may not help with world issues, but it will help with your digestive issues. A glass a day helps keep the intruders away. So, change your life today. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. If your health game is off, get on by ordering Life Change Tea. Getthetea.com. And while you're on our site, look around at the great non-GMO organic supplements. And if you're a sales shopper, go to our specials page and see what's for you. I've been drinking the tea for 12 years, and I'm sure glad for its health benefits. Again, that's getthetea.com. Getthetea.com. The tea that makes you go.
Do you have an interest in the paranormal? Then you'll love the unexnetwork.com. The X is your streaming audio and video for everything supernatural, strange, and mysterious, like UFOs, Bigfoot, ghosts, and so much more. From hosts like Jimmy Church, Whitley Strieber, Micah Hanks, and Christina Gomez. Visit the unexnetwork.com show page for a complete list of all the paranormal programs you'll find on the X. Be sure to follow us on Twitter for updates at KUNXDB. Follow our Facebook group, UnX Network. Find the podcast on Spotify, iHeart, Audible, and Apple Podcast. It's time.
It's new.
It's the X.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right. Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What a great week on the show. And tonight, Stormy Daniels is with us. Tomorrow night, Sean Cahill is here. Thursday is Fader Night with open lines all night long. Tonight is Stormy. She's with us for the first time. It's going to be a full night of ghost hunting, the paranormal, the supernatural, with spooky babes. She's already well known as an adult film star, director, author, stand-up comedian, and, of course, famously for standing up to the president. She has always had one foot in the paranormal, though. She has had unexplainable experiences dating back to her childhood, and it wasn't until she moved into a very haunted house somewhere here in the United States back in 2019 that things started to take off. And these personal experiences and the devastating effect it had on her and her loved ones inspired her to embark on a new adventure to discover the truth. We're going to go through all of that tonight, and SpookyBabesShow.com is the website. The links are on our site and throughout social media, and I would like to welcome for the first time to Fade to Black, Stormy Daniels. Stormy, good evening. How are you?
Good evening. It's been a wild night here in New Orleans. I was afraid I wouldn't make the show. A tornado just hit this town.
There, you know what? It in the world is Stormy. This is the truth, and I know you're. We talked about this earlier. Once you're in this world, you just got to expect the crazy. That's it. That's it. You just got to go with it. But before we get started, you get the first-time guest disclaimer, which is this. Stormy, it's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends, and where the conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends. But we're going to end as friends. There you go. You ready?
I am so ready.
Now, okay, I want to get one thing out of the way, and of course, this audience knows I don't do politics or religion on this show. It never gets discussed. We're not going to do that tonight. Tonight, we're going to be doing ghosts all night. But I want to ask one thing out in front. Avinet, I'm not going to talk about Michael. But what he did in court with you recently is an example of those out there that want to label situations in a certain way because ghosts are involved, right? And that's just not right, number one. But number two, and this is the question, do you even care what people think?
Not really. I mean, if I did, I wouldn't have put myself out there knowing that he was going to try to use that against me in court. I will say that it was an eye-opening experience because first, Michael tried to discredit me by saying, oh, you see dead people, you believe in ghosts, and that's not normal. Well, in fact, it's more normal than people think. I researched a lot of it so that I would have things to say in court when he asked those questions. And it's something like 60-something% of people believe in something paranormal or supernatural, whether it's ghosts or angels or UFOs or Bigfoots or all of the above, of course. And when I made it pretty clear that I wasn't going to back down and I had the evidence to back up my paranormal investigations, that he tried to make a big deal of subpoenaing my mental health records. And I know your audience can't see me right now, but I'm doing air quotes, mental health records, which implied that I had mental health records and that I had been treated for some sort of mental illness or was on medication for such. And those records don't exist because I have, in fact, never been treated by a psychiatrist or prescribed any sort of medication. But he tried to spin it that way to discredit me and to cast a shadow of a doubt, which I don't know. For one thing about this is I don't know what that would have to do with him forging my signature and embezzling money. I mean, I could be completely, I could be a complete lunatic smearing the wall with feces and licking the windows, and it doesn't change what he did, in my opinion. But I will say that it really was terrifying to think that there's so many people out there who struggle with the paranormal or mental illness. They, I'm not saying that they're the same thing, of course, and they are too afraid to seek treatment or to seek help because they will be labeled as crazy or it be used against them in the future, whether it be in court or child support cases or in jobs. They'll just be ostracized. And it was really sad to think how many people out there genuinely need help and they don't seek it until it's something devastating happens because they're going to be shamed for it. Luckily, I can't be shamed. I mean, the entire universe has seen me naked and there were no mental health records and I can back up my paranormal claims. But for most people out there who are a little easier to intimidate than myself, it's really scary that we have this stigma attached to paranormal beliefs and people that might need to see a therapist. And I think if anything good came out of that court case, aside from Michael Avenatti being convicted, it would be that I was able to shine a light on that for other people. And I'm glad that I stuck to my guns,
Yeah. Well, here's the deal, though. And here was his mistake. And then we move on. But everybody on that jury has seen a ghost, right? I mean, that or Bigfoot or UFOs or something paranormal or supernatural or angels. And that's a strikeout. And that was just a bad mistake.
There's two other things that I want to say about that is one, his first move was to fire his defense counsel on the second day so that he could represent himself, which gave him the opportunity to personally put me on the stand and call me names and grill me and try to shame me for 5.5 hours. Can you imagine if the crime hadn't been wire fraud and theft? What if it was a violent crime and a woman or a person, it doesn't have to be a woman, a person is put on the stand and belittled like that by their, the person who did harm to them. And that's just really potentially tragic. And I wonder how many people out there don't seek justice because of they could be in that situation. And number two, you are absolutely right. I can't tell you how many people might start a conversation with me. Oh, so you do ghost hunting? You don't really believe that stuff, do you? And of course, we go through that whole song and dance. And then finally they're like, well, there was this one time. I will tell you, everybody has a ghost story. Some of them have lots and they can't wait to tell you all of the things. But I can't think of a single moment or a single person that I've encountered in the last 2.5 years since I've been doing this, whether it's someone who sits next to me on a plane and sees, my T-shirt that says Spooky Babes or just knows that I do this. Everyone wants to talk about their ghost stories. Everybody has one. And I don't understand why we aren't more open about talking about these things.
Well, now let's go back. Let's talk about you for a second. Your interest in this obviously didn't start 2.5 years ago. This is a lifelong journey. I'll say this to the audience. I'm going to say this to you too as well, but I'm going to say this to the audience. Stormy and I talked today for a couple of hours, and if we didn't end that call when we did, we would have ran it right up to the show tonight, right?
We'd be still on that call.
We'd still be on that call. But what I found out during that call is that your knowledge in this subject and your journey in this is a friggin' serious one. And you know what you're doing, and you are taking this very, very serious. Oh, by the way, so talking about synchronicities, I'm just going to say this out front to everybody. We have a mutual friend, an old friend of ours, that is listening tonight, and that's Scotty Slam, one of my oldest friends in the world. And he reached out to me yesterday and said, man, she's so cool. Please tell her I said hi. And when I brought him up today during the conversation, your reaction and how close you are to him and how close I am, but that's just one of those synchronicities that is something that I enjoyed today. Okay, that out of the way.
We had a lot of those today. It was like one after another.
It was pretty strange, actually. It was pretty strange. Pretty cool. So let's go back to your childhood. When did all of this, start for you?
I'm not exactly sure, but I will tell you that the first memories that I have that I didn't realize were truly paranormal until I got more involved and learned more, more recently, was I know how old I was because I remember what house we lived in. I was about 2 years old, 2 to 3 years old. And we lived in this house in Idaho Falls, Idaho. And those houses, of course, they have basements, which we do not have here in New Orleans, which was really scary about an hour ago when there's tornadoes everywhere. But I remember that we had a basement and there was a door that went down to the basement, and all little kids are afraid to go into the dark. Like nobody wants to go into the creepy basement. Our basement wasn't creepy though. It was a finished basement, and my mother did laundry down there. And, I think my dad had workout equipment or something. And if the door was open to the basement, I always ran past it because the 2 times that I made the mistake of looking down those stairs, I saw a shadow, a person standing there. Now that I'm more educated in paranormal, I was really freaked out to realize that it wasn't just a little scared kid seeing things. It was something that a lot of people see. And it is that traditional, what they call a shadow figure, the man in the hat. I spent 35, almost 40 years thinking that I just was imagining something, or that it was just this one thing, or perhaps there was something that made that shadow down there. But no, it would move. And now I looking back, I can remember very clearly that was probably the first time I saw a shadow figure. I also have this really bizarre memory of being a little bit older. Now that I'm a mother, I understand what was happening at the time, but I remember being maybe 3 or 4 years old and being in this high school gym, or what I assume is like a high school gym. And it was, now looking back, I realized that it was a placement, where parents take their kids to see if they're going to go to preschool or kindergarten. And so it was just like, match all the shapes and pick your colors. And it was a little obstacle course, and it was, do these puzzles, and it was in a gym, and you ran around, and it was like, oh, step on the purple squares, or climb, put the shapes in the holes, that kind of stuff to figure out what grade you should be going into. And that's all normal. There's nothing strange about that. But what is strange is that after I did all of these things, like a normal child would do, my mom and I went into this room, and it was, it was just a metal desk, and there was a lady sitting across, and she's asking me some questions and about animals and my colors and numbers and things like that. And this is how long ago this was. I remember my mother was sitting next to me, and she was smoking a cigarette. That's how long ago this was.
Right.
And the lady, she has a pencil, and she's holding it, the tip is on the table, and she's holding it upright with her index finger on the eraser. And it reminded me of that scene in the movie The Craft, except this was obviously years before that movie was ever made. And she's holding it, and she says, all right, now your turn, make it stay up. And she moved her finger, and I was staring at it, and I made it balance. And my mom looked over and gasped, and I broke it. And I haven't been able to do that since. And I don't know how I did it, but most importantly, I want to know what I did at some previous juncture that I can't remember that made them even attempt that with me. And I don't speak to my mother, and I don't know if she would have, any more information about that. But if I were to ever talk to my mom again, that's the one thing I really want to know. Do you remember that time in that place with the pencil? What the hell was that about? And then, going through the years, there's like little things here and there, of course, that would happen. And the next really big scary event that I remember happening is I was 23 years old, and I was living in Woodland Hills, California, with the man I was with at the time, and he had a daughter that was 13 years old, and I'm standing in the kitchen and I'm washing dishes, and he was out in the garage working on his motorcycle, and I just had this vision of his daughter's funeral, like so vividly. Like I broke the glass and I ran out into the garage, and I was totally hysterical and freaking out because I was just overwhelmed. And I remember telling him, we have to go pick her up. We have to go pick her up. And she was coming. She spent weekends with us anyway, but this was like on a Wednesday or something. It was in the middle of the week. And I tell him why, and his natural reaction was anger and distrust. He, accused me of trying to start an argument between himself and his ex, which was not the case, and I understand where he was coming from. Nobody wants to hear that.
Right.
And he kind of blew up at me and yelled at me and made me cry. And I went back inside, and 5 days later, we buried his daughter.
Whoa.
And I shut down all of my feelings about that and being able to receive that, because I just have always thought for the last, 17 years, give or take, that if I had just stood my ground or just gotten in the car, said, F you, and gotten in the car and went and got her, maybe she would still be here.
Right.
And we split up very shortly around that time and didn't speak for a while. He and I are very close again. And I just blamed myself. You know what I mean? And I've carried that for a very long time. My own daughter is now named after her. I'm avoiding names on purpose.
Right.
And it was about exactly a year ago. I was in LA for work, for filming some stuff for my show. And me and my partner, my co-star, my best friend, my partner on the show, Justin, and I actually stayed with my ex at his house because, like I said, we're friends. And for the first time since his daughter's passing, he brought it up while we were sitting at his house and said, like, I should have listened to you. I'm glad that you're doing this. I've always been proud of you. I think, if anybody tries to say that you're fake or this isn't real, I lost my child for not believing you. And I'm sorry. And we had a good cry over it, but it's not going to change the fact that she's gone. And so I made a promise to him and his house, just a little over a year ago, that if I ever got a feeling like that again, that I would do any and everything to act upon it.
Yeah, to follow through. But
following that, I completely kind of turned it off. And simultaneously with the tragedy of that, which was horrifying. No parent should have to bury a child, obviously. Never. I can't think of anything worse. But around that time, I also blew up within the adult film business. I was signed to Wicked Pictures. I still work. I work for Wicked Pictures now as a director. But I got super famous around that time. My career took off. I was shooting all the time, whether it was movies or mainstream films or, I did 40-Year-Old Virgin and Knocked Up and all that stuff around that time. So whether I was on a mainstream set or an adult set or traveling for signings at stores or dance bookings or red carpets, and I was living in Hollywood, and I was, 24 years old, man. I was living it up. I was over at Scotty Slam's house,
Right.
We were having a good time. And I just got really busy, and I put all that stuff aside, and it wasn't until a few years ago when I moved back here to New Orleans that I moved into this house not the house I'm currently in, but the house 3 years ago that just changed everything.
Well, okay. So, and we're going to pick up right there in just a second. But how did you manage to turn it off? Were there instances of something happening, and something is coming into your head and you just shut it down? How do you do that?
Honestly, I didn't get anything coming in.
Okay.
Maybe I got some stuff like, oh my God, I would think of somebody and bump into them, or they would call, or I just kind of got bad feelings. Like, I would be dancing in a strip club and the middle of nowhere and just get a bad vibe about a guy and turn down a lucrative VIP room, or, what I'm saying? Like, I just made some choices that seemed to come from my gut. And then like I can think of a couple times, for instance, one particularly, I was dancing at a club in Portland, Maine, and I was on stage and a guy threw a bunch of money that he made it rain, which happens all the time, except in this case, it was $100 bills, not ones. I mean, he probably tipped me $2,000 to you in one go. Now, normally any good exotic dancer will tell you that's the guy you go and find and thank and ask if he wants to spend some more money on you. And I was talking to somebody else. I was doing pictures and selling some DVDs or whatnot. And this guy came over and wanted to take me into a room and buy champagne. And he, the waitresses all knew him. All the girls wanted to sit with him. He had a ton of money. Obviously, they knew him. And something told me just not to. And so I opted to turn down a very lucrative night of dances for this guy. I just had a bad feeling. And sure enough, at the end of the night, while I was packing up and getting paid, there was a bunch of commotion in the club. He had punched a stripper and like refused to pay her, and they had to call the police. And you know what I'm saying? So there was lots of instances like that where I wouldn't say they were paranormal or I had a vision or like I predicted something, but I had a very strong gut feeling that I listened to, and it probably kept me out of a lot of trouble and kept me safe. But as far as like seeing ghosts or anything like that, I was never in one spot. I was busy, just, so busy that I didn't listen to it. And part of it was probably a subconscious turnoff, but mentally because of the trauma of my stepdaughter passing away.
Right. Now, okay, so in 2020, what happened in New Orleans?
So in March of, it was March of 2019, actually.
Okay.
I rented a place. I moved back here to New Orleans. I'm from here. That's where I'm at right now. I'm born and raised in Louisiana. And me and the guy I was dating at the time decided to move into a bigger house together. We had already been living together. So it's not like we just moved in, because I know that some people find out very quickly that they can't cohabitate. You know what I mean? That's not the case here. I want to make that clear. He and I lived in another place together, but it was a very small place, and we wanted a bigger spot. I wanted a room for my daughter to come visit and things like that. So we rented a house in the Garden District here in New Orleans. It's beautiful. I think it was about a 200-year-old house. We were both super excited about it. It was just beautiful. Perfect location for the parades and all the things New Orleans, right? And so we moved in, and the second we moved in, I just kind of felt a presence. And I even told my boyfriend, I feel like this house is haunted. Of course, then we make the joke, all the houses in New Orleans are haunted, which New Orleans is the only place in the world I know that driving around, the real estate signs clearly say haunted or not haunted, literally on the real estate signs here.
I believe
so,
it.
Yeah, of course, the house is probably haunted. But it just felt stronger or more present than other haunted places or, that I had been in or whatnot. And it very, very quickly escalated, mostly focusing on my ex-boyfriend. The house I'll just tell you, the house didn't like him. He became a completely different person very quickly. We started fighting, and not just fighting, but I'm talking like fighting for no reason. And it was always him attacking me and just being vicious for no reason. And the fights would just escalate, and I would just be like completely caught off guard and saying like, what is wrong? And he would just rage, and it escalated to physical fights, like he put his hands on me more than once, which is not something that he had done in the past or I would thought this person would do. And then he started kind of like deteriorating physically, losing time. This is an interesting thing too. So he got, I don't know if you're familiar with Demon House that Zach Baggins did.
Yes.
Okay. I had never seen that movie. I actually did not see that movie until a year after, until 2020. And Zach in his film locks himself in a house and a whole bunch of stuff happens to him. And one of the things that they can't explain is that anybody who watches Ghost Adventures knows that Zach wears his trademarked prism glass, his prism glasses. That's everybody knows about his glasses that he didn't need before spending the night in that house. It did something to his vision, and that's not a common thing. to need these kind of eyeglasses. Well, my ex didn't really wear glasses the first year we were together, and ended up having to get not only those thick kind of prism glasses, but it got so bad he had surgery, I was told later. So as things escalated in that house, I tried to convince him it was haunted. He tried to convince me I was crazy. So I put cameras in the house, and I caught, like, the cameras would go off when no one was home, and I would catch these shadows. And he had a guitar that was sitting on a guitar stand by the fireplace, and it just snapped in half while no one was home. And no, the strings weren't overly tight, like it hadn't gotten restrung, nothing like that. And it finally escalated to where he had 2 instances of sleep paralysis, about 3 days apart. The second time, it happened to him in a bathtub downstairs in the middle of the morning, a bright sunny day, which resulted in him running upstairs and screaming at me and cussing me out, saying horrible, horrible things to me, calling me the worst names you can imagine for no reason. We weren't fighting. We'd had a lovely evening and morning up until that point. And he physically assaulted me, and we ended up splitting up. And like I said, he lasted about five or 6 weeks with me in that house, and then he left. And I continued to live there for about 9 months. And things escalated in that time, but I never felt like I was in danger. I almost felt like the house was protective of me for a large chunk of that. Like, I would see shadows. 22 people came to that house, and 21 of them had something happen to them, whether it was just like something whisper in their ear, or just, what I'm saying? Like, just weird stuff. Things wouldn't be where I left them, things like that. You know what I mean? And then it changed. And like November of that year, the owners of the house told me that they were not going to renew my lease because they wanted the house to be vacant so that they could do some remodeling.
Okay. Let's stop right there. I need to take a break. This is that's a perfect break to stop. This is incredible. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Stormy Daniels is with us. That's right. It's ghost hunting with spooky babes. We'll be right back. Stay with us on the UNX and Game Changer Networks. This is Fade to Black.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Your 1 million gigawatt paranormal powerhouse, KUNX-DB, The X.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right, 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today, and use coupon code 30daysfree. That's coupon code 30 days free on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Because you never got that pony you always wanted. Damn it. Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer, Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com.
Hi, Race Hobbs with the X. Obviously, if you're listening to this, you have an interest in unexplained phenomena like ghosts, Bigfoot, and UFOs. And by now, you know that we have our own X blog, the UnX newsletter, and the UnX magazine quarterly. But most of you don't know that we have started our very own paranormal conference. And this year, for safety, this 2-day XCon will be virtual, so you can attend from the comfort of your home. XCon presenters include Whitley Strieber, Micah Hanks, Margie Kay and Preston Dennett, Lisa Martin and Wayne Lawrence, Lee Spiegel, Debbie Zagelmeyer, Dan Terry, Kate Grabowski, and Ray Hernandez. There will also be a live paranormal investigation by the Riverside, Iowa Paranormal Team. So come hang out with us in the safety of home as we set out to explain the unexplained Friday, May 13th and Saturday the 14th, 2022. And tickets are on sale now. Go to unexnetwork.com. That's unexnetwork.com.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Race Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. We're also Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Stormy Daniels is with us, ghost hunting with spooky babes. And I want to do a quick reset with everybody. Stormy was just telling us about this house that she moved into 2019 in the Garden District of New Orleans. Boyfriend moves out, freaky stuff. It's kind of like Stormy, like The Shining, right? Jack Nicholson, right? Yeah. And so he's gone. You're there alone. Things are continuing. You've got cameras mounted in the house. And I'm not going to let that part go. I actually want to circle back with some of the things that you were seeing. But anyway, you were saying that the owners of the house said, hey, we want to do a remodel. And I suppose that they're asking you to move out?
Yeah, so they had said, when your lease is up, we're not going to re-up it because we want to take a couple months to really renovate the house and tint it for termites and do things. And that made me sad because I gotten this weird attachment to the house. It was definitely haunted, but it was like kind of a novelty, at this point. Once he was out of the picture and I wasn't fighting with someone, wasn't in a toxic relationship, the stuff kind of didn't bother me. Every now and then there'd be knocking. I'd see a shadow or somebody would be like, hey, so when I stayed over at your house last night, did you come in the room and pull the cover? Or like, they would be like, my friends, Michael and Susie, stayed over while I was out of town one time. I let them use my house and they were like, So we were, I'm trying to keep this PG, but basically they said, oh, we were being intimate on your sofa, and we heard laughing from inside the house, like little giggling, and just sort of like creepy stuff like that. But none of it seemed to be malignant. You know what I mean? Nothing seemed to be dangerous. And I almost felt like the house sort of protected me. And so everything was fine. I was coexisting with the house fine. And then once it was known that I was moving out, it was almost like the house turned on me. And the last 8 weeks or so that I was there, it got really dark. I started just getting depressed, having some physical problems, headaches. I had blood come from my ears and my eyes. We took pictures of it. Many people will back me up. I started to feel pressure in my head. I thought I had a brain tumor. I went in for, I got like an energy scan. Like my hair was falling out, but also the things that were happening inside the house tend to take a little more aggressive and darker tone. You know what I mean?
Were you catching stuff? Were you catching stuff on camera?
Not too much. It was more like knocking under the floorboards under the dining room table. I would be asleep and a loud bang would wake me up. It just felt different. Like I felt when I came in, instead of being like, "Hi, house, I'm home," it was like I'd walk in and just feel like bad. You know what I mean? Like something was there. The back door kept opening by itself. My dog would growl at the corner and be afraid. Just like I said, it just seemed to take a darker turn. And then
you know what's been happening to me. I'm not gonna. The show is about you, but one crazy thing has been happening. My house is haunted. I'm cool with it. All right, fine, whatever. But in my master bedroom, I have double doors, right? To go into the master bedroom, and they're always open. I never close. I live alone. I don't need to close them. They're always open. I walk in my bedroom, go into the back, whatever, and I'll turn around and one of the doors is closed. And so it's happening behind my back. I never see it happen. So the other day, now it happened again this afternoon, right? And now it's like funny, ha now, right? But the other day, I just remembered I was walking up the stairs and I fired up my phone and I went to videotape. And I said, okay, the doors are open. Now let's just see what happens, right? Now I walked in, came back out, and they were still open. I was like, oh, okay. So I fire up the camera, and you're not closing the door. Right? And yeah, of course, right? So, and then it happened. It's weird. Only behind my back. I never see it do the swing, but it's like all the time. Okay, so continue. You've got a door opening at the house.
You should put a camera on it. Just get one of those blink cameras. They're so cheap on Amazon, and you can just move them around.
I have 4 ready to go. Okay, I'm going to be straight with you. I don't want to know. I almost.
Well, that's why it's happening behind you. It knows that you don't want to know.
I know. It's like, and I was look. I'm going to put some stuff downstairs and things because I have friends that are good. They do this perfect. This is what they do. It's their job,
right.
And they've been giving me this advice because there's things going on. Set up the cameras downstairs here and there and they're still in the boxes. It's like what if maybe I just don't want to know.
So here's the positive about that, right? Whatever's in your house, if it's haunted and it's not closing the doors when you're facing it, it's because it knows you're afraid. So the good news is, if this was something that wanted to scare you, it would wait till you were facing it. It would be doing it on purpose.
Bam.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it knows, so it could really mess with you if it wanted to. That's my opinion.
So now when you were saying, and this is interesting because for me, I'm just accepting of the situation. But you're feeling the pressure of possibly a negative situation where it has gone from positive to now it's not feeling that way, right? How long did that go on for?
About eight or 9 weeks. And it just was, I went downhill pretty fast, both, mentally, emotionally, physically. And I knew that I needed to get out. So my friend Justin, who is my co-star on Spooky Babes, had, he'd seen me just sort of not doing well. And I was supposed to start moving out. So we started putting some of my stuff together to move out. And on this particular night, it was raining and Justin was helping me load some stuff, but I wasn't supposed to actually be out of my house yet. And it was raining. We were tired. He said, can we go get some food? There was a restaurant down the street from my house that we both really liked that we wanted to walk down to. So I said, let me run upstairs and change because we're soaking wet. And then we'll walk down to the restaurant. And he said, okay, I'm going to take a leak. And so I go upstairs and he goes into my downstairs bathroom, which I need to preface seemed to be a hot spot of activity in regards to this house. A lot of people had some feelings in this bathroom and some little things happened. It was technically my daughter's bathroom and she never used it. Like she always came upstairs to use my bathroom. But so Justin had used this restroom 50, 60, 100 times, while in the months that he had come over and we'd been friends. So this bathroom, like I told you, the house was really old. And so the door was kind of warped. It was, it's an old house.
Right.
And it had one of those crystal doorknobs, those old fashioned crystal doorknobs. And the door was a little off. So to close that door, you had to push it shut and slide a latch at the top. Somebody, had installed a latch to keep the door shut. Otherwise it would just open. It didn't shut properly. And the latch was pretty high up and kind of hard to use. So Justin goes in there and he's standing at the toilet. He's using the restroom, and all of a sudden he hears thwack. That latch undid, and you had to use some force, and it didn't just come open. It opened all the way, and then he turned, and the doorknob turned, and the door started open. And let me tell you, he screamed so loud, he peed on my floor. He comes running up the stairs and doesn't even hesitate. I mean, he comes barreling into my bedroom. I'm standing there naked. He's like, something just happened. I'm using your bathroom up here. And then, he was pretty shook and basically was like, get your stuff. You're not staying here anymore. And I ended up living on his sofa for about a month before I figured out something else.
I had a crystal door handle incident. I'm going to share this.
Really?
This is really quick. Same thing. 150-year-old house, crystal door handle, Airbnb. This is up in Northern California. And so in bed, and the same situation that you're describing, to push the door, it's an old house, right? So you had to push it shut and twist the handle just right to hear it pop and latch. And to open it, you had to you had to twist this thing to get it unstuck and open the door. So I'm in bed, got my iPad, right, and the door, and on everything that is holy, that thing went pop, and the door swung open, and I looked, and it's open like 6 inches, and I didn't even get out of bed. I didn't even want to look. It freaked me out because I know what I was going through for the last 2 or 3 days to close that door. So
right. Same thing, except we had a latch.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So at that point, something physical is happening, right? This isn't nature doing its thing. Something has to slide that latch on purpose.
I agree. Yeah. And so I left and didn't go back, like I said, I stayed at my friend's house but to go back to how I got involved in paranormal while things were happening, I didn't watch any of the paranormal television shows. I didn't know any of the names in paranormal. I didn't know basically anything about it. My best friend, Justin, however, he watched, Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures, and he knew the people on those shows, and he definitely was more versed than I was. So of course he was like, there's definitely something in your house. There's definitely something going on. I've witnessed too much stuff. I know you, Stormy. You're not a liar. You're not crazy. Let's reach out to see if somebody can come in here and investigate. So I sent some messages and we never got any response. In the meantime, there's my whole group of friends and people who knew me who hadn't physically been in the house, hadn't had an experience, thought that I had just lost my mind, basically. And so I was kind of determined to figure out, am I crazy? What's going on? Why are these things happening? And no one would help me. No one responded. So if they won't come to me, we'll go to them. And so Justin and I came up with the idea to go to an actual paranormal location with paranormal investigators and talk to them and see the stuff. Do I see things happening here, or is it just, I needed answers.
Right.
So I went to a paranormal event that had some paranormal people doing, an investigation, and sure enough, that house lit up for me. We got a lot of stuff, and I really thought we would just go there and maybe go to 1 or 2 locations, get some answers, and be done with it. For my own peace of mind. What I did not know was that I can really see dead people, and being in these locations that are hot spots and being around other investigators and having them teach me things really kind of set me not just back onto that path, but just set me on the path and lit the rocket boosters. And then, so now it's a year later. Now it's, March of 2020 was when this happened. And then COVID happened, and we just kind of decided to keep going with it, because the good thing about filming during COVID is ghosts don't get COVID and the crews need it work. And so Justin and I lived on the tour bus for about 1.5 years and just kept going. The more you find out, the thirst for knowledge and answers just kept growing. And I just never wanted anyone to feel the way I felt, where they just were so like, I had gotten to a point where I was me, who is, I hate to say the word celebrity, but that I am, reaching out to complete strangers on the internet and saying, something is happening. Can you please come over? So if I was so desperate and couldn't get anybody to help me with my name and my contacts, how are other people? And luckily I was fortunate enough to be like, screw this place, I'm going to move. How many people are out there that are going through this and have no resources and can't afford to just be like, I'll just get a new house.
Right.
So we just decided I wanted to learn as much as I could, and I wanted to make sure that no one felt that way. They didn't feel alone or crazy. I mean, just didn't want anybody to go through what I went through. And it just escalated to, we ended up filming 15 or so episodes and going to some of the most amazingly famous haunted places in the U.S. We were supposed to go to Europe, but like I said, COVID.
Now, I want to talk about some technical stuff in the gear, because now you've got a learning curve that you've got to go through. And,
we made a lot of mistakes.
Yes, and before I forget, the guitar that broke, was that on camera?
Yes.
So that guitar snapped in half on camera.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. I know guitars. Okay.
Yes.
I've never had a guitar snap in half. And the rigidity, they are constructed not to snap in half, right? I mean, that's the design of the guitar, to deal with stress and tension. So
I have no explanation. There was nobody in the house. The guitar was in a frame. It was sitting next to the fireplace, and the camera angle shot facing the living room, the idea behind the camera was if somebody came in the front door. So the guitar was on the left side of frame. It wasn't the main focus of the camera.
Right.
But the camera went off and no one walked past my front window or came in the front door, and then it shut down. And then you can see the guitar fine. It's not broken. It's in the frame. I searched that footage going, what could have triggered the camera? And, what was it a mouse? Was it the front? Nothing. And then, so the camera records for like 15 seconds or whatever, and then it shuts off. And then the next time it came on, the guitar is still sitting where it was sitting, but it was broken in half. So it just was, and it was still dangling a little bit. No explanation. There was nobody there. You have me leaving and coming on camera.
Wow.
Very weird stuff. For
yeah,
sure.
That's I've got nothing. That would freak me out.
But the guitar wasn't mine. The guitar belonged to my ex. It was one of his personal items that was left when he left.
Right. The house knew.
And the house did not like him.
No,
the house
knew.
absolutely did not like him.
The house knew. Okay. Now, so earlier today we're talking, and you said one thing that was totally cool. You go.
Just
so
one
Jimmy,
thing? Come on,
no, but it was this. Well, you'll enjoy it. You said, I didn't take my gear with me, and just that statement. Okay, she's got gear. She is and I thought to myself, what's in the gear list? What is the gear? What does Stormy take with you? So let's talk about that for a little bit. You've got to learn. You're going out and you're talking to other ghost hunters and investigators. What do they use? What is it? You're using this stuff too as well, and you're saying, and you start to put a list together. So what's in your gig bag?
So when I have my crew with me, we take more stuff when it's just me. This was the trip you're referring to. I was solo last week driving around Iowa like a crazy person and by myself. But so when we have a team, when it's me and Justin and our camera operator, we do set up a DVR system. So we have a big, huge Pelican case with a flat screen TV in it that we use as a monitor, and then we have night vision cameras, and we don't use the ones that run off Wi-Fi. We hardwire so that we don't have interference.
That's the best way to go. Yep.
So we have so much cable. So we set up, we have 6 cameras that are night vision, motion activated, or can just be running, and those run to the monitor. So we have one case that has our DVR system, the recorder, the TV, and the cameras and lights. Like I said, lots of cords. And then we have another case that is our cameras. So we have obviously I have a Sony A7, which is getting a little bit outdated. I am purchasing a Blackmagic to do like our interviews, things that aren't like, technically they're not part of the ghost hunt. It's, we want 4K good footage of sit down interviews, interviewing whether it be the homeowner or the tour guide or whatever. So we have that with the lenses and the microphones and things like that we wear. And then we have 2 night vision cameras. For when we're running through the locations, they're night vision cameras. We have trail cams that we set up, that's just what any hunter would use. That'll take a photo. If something moves, it triggers it. We also have 4K police body cameras that we wear. So if we're being filmed with a camera crew, sometimes we'll put those on our back facing outwards. So if something ever, how many times are you watching a ghost hunting show and the person is talking to camera, and there's a camera pointed at their face, and then they're like, "Oh my God, something just touched me," but you can't see what was behind them. Right. Sometimes we put our body cams on backwards. We'll put them on our back in case something sneaks up behind us. That's the theory. Luckily, it hasn't happened, but that's my theory. That was my idea. And then we also have so that's all the camera gear. We have a thermal camera in there as well. And then we have my smaller case, which is the one that I take by myself that has the paranormal stuff. So we have REM pods, a K2 meter, an EDI. I have dowsing rods that I use. We have, what else is in that case? We have a Mel meter, which I still can't figure that thing out. If anybody wants to teach me how that works correctly, that's never the piece I take. But I'll tell you that my favorite piece of equipment, and we have a spirit box too that does yes. I don't know how I feel about those, but we do have one, and a speaker, so if we want to play music, because we do play music in locations, especially if it's a location that is we'll try to play music that's relative to the time period of the presumed haunting or when it was built. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because music is just such a universal language. But my favorite piece of equipment is just the old school Panasonic, like little recorder, that it's just a little tape recorder that you might use if you were, recording a lecture or taking class notes, and they have the headphones. And what I do is I do live listen. So I have my recorder in my hand with the headphones, and I put one earbud in, not the other one, so I can hear what's going on with my naked hair on this side. But anything that I could capture on this, I'm getting it here.
Right.
And I do burst. I record only like 30-second clips. It makes it way easier for reviewing footage. And I'll tell you, the basic recorder and just my own intuition is probably my favorite piece of equipment. If you were to ask Justin, my partner on the show, what his favorite piece of equipment is, he always jokes Stormy.
Right. And now the recorder, it records on tape, or is it digital?
It is digital. The tape ones are supposedly better, but they're pretty hard to come by and a lot of effort.
Yeah, but you got to get tape. It's the recorder right. you might be able to find. Try finding tape to put in it. Okay, so but with the digital recorder, that's one of the most, well, it's all fascinating to me. But EVPs is crazy town to me. I love it so much. How successful are you with that? If that's your favorite piece of gear, you're capturing some pretty cool EVPs, I would guess. Extremely successful. We have so many EVPs of our haunted doll, Susan, which is a whole nother story, but that's the first EVP we ever got was of her responding to Justin talking to her. We have a really cool EVP from the Vail Mansion in Missouri, where this one's cool because it's not just an EVP, but it's also a mimic. So in this location, Justin, it was me, the investigators were myself, Justin, and John Bullard was with us. And I was taking a break. I was sitting downstairs on the first floor. I remember this very clearly because I was sitting by an outlet so I could plug my phone, and I was posting pictures on Instagram. And I was completely by myself, so I was very quiet. They were all the way up on the third floor, and they were running EVP, and something touched John. And if you go on our YouTube, Spooky Babe Show YouTube, and watch our trailer, you actually see the mark that John gets on his shoulder. But anyway, so Justin and John are up there, and it's just the two of them. And on the recording and on camera, you can hear John go, "Ow!" And you hear me go, "What?" And Justin says, "Are you okay?" And then there's 3 times where he says, "Yeah, something just touched me," or whatever. And Justin says something, and then you hear me go, "Oh, wow." Except I wasn't up there. Straight up. And even I think it's my voice. As a matter of fact, we had this piece of footage for a solid 4 or 5 months before we realized, wait, I never went up there. I wasn't there when they did this. They were rolling a ball and doing all kinds of stuff, and I wasn't there. So but it definitely sounds like me. Right, but they thought you were up there. They thought it was your voice. Yeah, it sounds exactly like me. And like I said, we have quite a few pretty intense EVPs. Let's one of the craziest ones we got, and I won't say it because I don't want to say the name, but we got at the Villisca Axe House, and it was in reverse. We had to play it in reverse to figure out what it said. Let's take our break right here. This is Fade to Black. I'm your Jimmy Church tonight. Stormy Daniels, ghost hunting, spooky babes. This is Fade to Black. This is Fade to Black. I'm your Jimmy Church. More with Stormy right after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
You're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the X.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
This is Jimmy Church. Jason Martell's book, Knowledge Apocalypse 10-Year Anniversary Edition, is now available. Most ancient cultures speak of a time when their gods visited them. They never say their gods came from across the ocean or from the mountains. They always came down from the skies. Was ancient man visited by gods or extraterrestrials? We have not been told the full truth about our human past. There was a time when all the ancient cultures lived amongst beings they considered their gods. The search for truth leads us down the path of learning where the ETs might come from and why they are here. To understand some of these advanced topics and learn the truth about human origins, buy the new book from Jason Martell, Knowledge Apocalypse, now in its 10-year anniversary edition, available on Amazon.com by clicking on the banners over on our site, or simply visit jasonmartell.com. That's jasonmartell.com. Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. Fadernauts. When you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Stormy Daniels is with us, ghost hunting. Tomorrow night, Sean Cahill is here, UAPs and Skyfort. Thursday night's another Fader night with open lines all night long. And now, Stormy, before we move forward, who's the team? Who is on that tour bus?
So it is myself and my co-star Justin Loop. If you look at the Spooky Babes logo, it's me and him in the logo. Our videographer and co-director is Barrett Blade. We have a second cameraman named Joel Sinclair. And then we have a couple of other people that we rotate out. So Spooky Babes itself is me and Justin, but we have other people that are regular guest investigators. We have Carly Sacred. She's a very talented and very beautiful medium from Florida. We have David Childers in quite a few episodes. Everybody knows David from all of his TV appearances. John Bullard is in the first, 5 or 6 episodes. He taught me most of what I know, to be honest. Anya, and I won't even attempt to pronounce her last name, is on the team. She's amazing. But it's always me and Justin, and we rotate out some of our other investigators.
That's a pretty solid team. And does anybody attract more action? Is there one troublemaker on the team when it comes to interactions with the paranormal?
Definitely me. I am definitely ghost bait. I would say I probably get the most. Justin, child spirits seem to love Justin. He interacts with the little kids a lot for some reason. And Anya, sadly enough, seems to attract the most negative stuff. It's pretty funny. We get a lot of EVP, and she is beautiful. You can go to the Spooky Babes page and see her. She's the brunette, just exotic looking, gorgeous
Armenian.
Armenian, yeah, on our team, and she's just beautiful. She tends to attract. She ended up in a hospital one night. I'll put it that way. But if we've got anybody who's going to call some, I know I can't say some of the words on your show, but rude comments about her boobs, or like, just if somebody's going to get called a name, it's going to be Anya for some reason, which makes no sense because she's so sweet.
The haunted doll, Susan.
Yes.
Now I got a few emails from some friends and a couple of texts telling me about Susan. And, Jimmy, you've got to spend some time on this. It's crazy town, what has been going on. So tell us about Susan. Where did Susan come from?
Well, she's sitting right next to me right now. She's always here. Susan was, the backstory that we've gotten from Susan is she was made in the 1940s, and she belonged to a little girl. We don't know the child's name, who passed away in 1955. After the little girl's passing, the parents or the family called in Ed and Lorraine Warren and said that the doll was kind of freaking them out. I don't know what all that entails, but the Warrens came in and cleansed the home, and they took Susan, and they had her in their museum or in their possession collection, whatever you want to say, for a long time. I'm going to say probably about 50 years, going by my math. And then she got passed to someone else who auctioned her off to benefit a children's charity. I mean, like maybe children's cancer charity. And at that point, an investigator named John Bullard bought her. And he had her for about 10 years or so. And he was very fixated on the doll, called her his bae. She was his prized possession. He kept her in a glass case in a haunted location. And she had some pretty strange, or not strange, some pretty strong reactions from people. She elicited pretty strong feelings. Like some people were deathly afraid of her, or they burst into tears, but then he didn't actually get her moving or talking during that time. And then that location was the first one that Justin and I went and investigated at. And he somehow convinced John to let him take Susan out of the case and hold her, which he did for about 3 hours that night. It was very bizarre. And when he went to put Susan back into the case, he said, "Did you like it when I held you?" And a few days later, John found me on Facebook and messaged and said, "You need to check your footage and you need to hear this." And sure enough, I went back and checked my footage, and he checked his, and we have an EVP of Susan responding to Justin. So we thought that Susan was attached to or liked Justin. Turns out that's not the case. She will talk to anybody. I just have to be present. We have at least 50 EVPs of her now. She comes through sometimes when I'm doing radio shows and podcasts. So if anybody hears her come through, it's very possible. I can't tell you how many podcasts I've done, and afterwards the show host messaged me and was like, so this happened. She's very vocal. But John brought her on investigations while he was on the show with us. And then when John decided that he couldn't be around, couldn't be with me anymore, he left Susan in my care, and she's been exclusively with me for, it'll be 2 years in September. And she's gone on all my investigations. And like I said, she's here in the room with me now. She's pretty much always with me. I strap her to my back in a little carrier when I investigate. And she's quite famous now because she was mentioned going all the way back to the beginning of our conversation when we first started the show. Michael Avenatti fixated on Susan and tried to use her quite a bit in court as evidence that I'm crazy and that I have a haunted doll. And she said this and she said that. Is this true? And I stood my ground and said yes. So the press had a field day with talking about my haunted doll named Susan. So Susan's quite famous now. She's gonna be demanding her own tour bus soon, I'm sure.
Can I see her?
Sure.
Let me see. Oh man, this is great.
So this is not her original outfit. She had a vintage dress, obviously, that was silk and started to get kind of ratty. So I took it off and sealed it and put it away. Now she has a whole bunch of wardrobe. And she has an antique cradle, which, I mean, the audience can't see, but you can see it's like, can you see that?
I can.
Okay. So she sleeps. That's where Susan sleeps.
Okay. I'm going to take a picture of you with her for everybody so they can see her. And yeah. Okay. One more time. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay.
But she has her own Instagram. There's tons of pictures of her on her Instagram, which is Spooky Babes Susan, and there's tons of her on our Instagram, Spooky Babes Show. And obviously, like I told you, we have footage in the trailer on our YouTube. And if you go to YouTube and type in Spooky Babes Show and watch our trailer, the 6-minute one, the long one, you'll actually hear and see the footage of her first EVP
with Justin.
Yeah. It's in there.
What does she say? Yeah, what did she say? Why did John feel the need to reach out? What was said?
She only said yes. Justin asked if she liked it when he held her, and would she like it if he held her again? And she responded yes. And it's pretty creepy, aren't you? Yes. And then we have a lot of footage of a lot of EVPs of her talking, and we have, I think, 2 of her that's not an EVP. We heard it, and one of them is on there too. So for the listeners who don't know, an EVP is electronic voice phenomenon, and it's not heard with the ear. So that when she responded to Justin, he was literally holding her face to face with her, talking to her, and he didn't hear it. We only were able to capture it on audio recording. And I know that John didn't fake it because he got it on his personal recorder and then told me to check my footage, and I hadn't even loaded our camera footage yet. And sure enough, I have it on my camera film too. But none of us heard it when we were there.
Now, what do you EVP is great. I mean, it's just great. It's a phenomenon. There's something going on. And the few times where I have done a question and answer session with a team, going out there and investigating, and I hear it happen in real time, all right, they'll play it back. My mind is blown. That's great. But it's a whole nother thing when you hear it out in the ether and it's not an EVP. What do you think is going on with that when you actually hear the voice? I
don't know. I'm actually more baffled when we can hear an EVP. Like, how can a recorder pick up something that none of us can actually hear? To me, although that's the more common version to capture a spirit talking, to me, that's the stranger one. Like, why can... I mean, I've even done it with my phone. Like, I've, in a pinch, like when I was at Villisca 2 mornings ago and I told you I didn't bring my gear in, I did have my phone. So I just put my phone on record and tried, you can use your iPhone, you can use your phone as a recorder as well if in a pinch. But to me, it's so much stranger when my phone, which is sitting on my leg, and I say, is anybody here with us? Can you tell us your name? And I don't hear anything, but I play the clip on my phone and there's a response. So how is it? To me, that's way stranger than being able to hear something.
Can we talk about 2 nights ago? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. You get... I told Stormy today, I would have never done that.
I made poor choices. This is established.
Did I not say those exact words?
You did.
I would have never. Anyway, you get locked in where? Just say it out loud to everybody.
I wasn't locked in. I had the lock too. I was allowed in. I could get out. But it wasn't at night. It was actually during the day. It was yesterday morning, actually. You're talking about Melbourne. Yes. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Villisca. Yes. Oh my gosh. This is crazy. So, you were correct. This was 3 nights ago. I was in Iowa and I was called there to work on a project, and last minute I needed to find a place to stay for the night. There was a change of plans. We'll just leave it at that. There was a change of plans, and I was there with the group of people I was with included Johnny Hauser and Josh Hurd. And Josh Hurd, as we, for those who know, runs the Malvern Manor in Malvern, Iowa. And it's a super haunted, very creepy, large, twisty-turny, scary place. And I needed a place to stay, so he let me crash at Malvern. And I just kind of, I guess, stupidly thought they were gonna stay, but I forget they went home to their kids and families, and then Josh was like, I'm gonna lock up now. So you're right, I was locked in. I'm gonna lock up now. Here's my cell phone number in case the walls start to bleed or anything weird. I'm like, wait, what? Don't say that to me before you leave. And make sure you deadbolt. I slept in his podcast office on the couch because it seemed to be the least creepy place. And I slept with all the lights on, and he said, make sure you deadbolt this door behind you, because otherwise, right when you start to fall asleep, the ghosts or spirits or whatever think it's really funny to kick the door open. And sure enough, he showed me in the sheetrock behind the door where the doorknob had actually put holes in from scaring him when he stays there. So yeah, I was supposed to stay there that first night. And sure enough, as soon as I was drifting off, there was a loud bang right outside that door. And I was just like, nope, leaving the lights on. And the second night, I was supposed to only stay the one night, but I woke up that morning and it was this mix of heavy snow and rain and just some sort of Iowa hell mix that I, being from, New Orleans, could not drive in. So I ended up having to stay there for 2 nights. And it was pretty creepy, but nothing major happened.
But doing it alone?
Oh,
I mean,
no,
that's just,
it was horrible. It was horrible. It was so scary. It was so scary. Because even when we're investigating and I have a whole group in my team and whatever, and most nights, I would say 90% of the times that we were filming, I still chose to not sleep in the location, and I went outside and slept in my bunk on my tour bus. I rarely slept in locations. I tend to have really bad nightmares if I sleep in there. And I did. I had bad dreams both nights that I was at Malvern Manor.
And then yesterday you're in the Axe house. And here's the thing. You don't
by myself.
By yourself. You don't hang out by yourself in anything called the Axe house. Okay, so take me through this. I don't want to say anything that you don't want to say. All right, but I'll keep it on this side. You said that you chose to just lay down on the floor with your phone and you started recording.
Right. So, like I said, I was on this pretty bizarre quest throughout Iowa and Illinois last week by myself. Well, Susan was with me. Susan and I rented a car, and I was in search of something, which I told you that full story earlier, about a spirit that's connected to the house that I currently live in, which is at this point right now, I live in a haunted church in New Orleans, but it's all good spirits. It's good. I've been here for over a year. This is my house. It's amazing. That's a whole story. We could spend a whole 2 hours talking about this place in particular that I'm in right now. But I'm driving all over Iowa, and I'm on this quest to find something, and I'm in cemeteries and graveyards and just haunted locations and stuff like that. And good news is I did find what I was looking for. But when I was driving back through Iowa yesterday morning, really early on my way to fly home from Omaha Airport, I realized that I was going to be passing through or very near to Villisca. And because Johnny had helped me out a few nights before, I just texted him and was like, hey, I'm going to be passing through in about 20 minutes. And he said, oh, I'm just leaving the Axe house for the day. I'm to go film somewhere else. Swing by. I don't have long, but at least I can say hello to you. So I got there. I got to talk to Johnny for a few minutes, and he was like, do you want to go inside? I'll just unlock, I'll just give you a key and you can just lock up. Well, he didn't give me a key, He's like, I'll just unlock everything for you. Just make sure you lock it up before you leave. And I was like, this is a freaking terrible idea.
It's a terrible idea. There's a sign.
It's a terrible idea.
It's Stormy, there's a sign out front that says Villisca Murder House.
I know.
It's right out front.
I know. Like I said, me and my whole crew had investigated there about 1.5 years ago. We got some, that's where I got the reverse EVP that I won't repeat because it has a name in it that I don't want to say. It was a messed up night for sure. We had a lot of weird stuff happen, but I guess I've gotten braver in the last 1.5 years because here I go. So Johnny leaves and I got to just hang out for a couple hours. And I sat in every room for a while, and I haven't listened to all my recordings, but I didn't bring, like, that's what you were talking about. I didn't bring my gear in. I left it locked in the trunk of my car because part of me was like, this is a pretty cool opportunity. I should bring all my stuff in and set up REM pods and recorders and trail cams and all this stuff. But the other part of me was like, are you crazy? Like, if something bad happens and something scares you and you take off running, there's no way in hell you're going to go back in there and get all your gear and you'll be out thousands. Just use your phone. So that's what I did. I just, I went in and sat in each room and I haven't listened to it all with headphones in. It's been a pretty crazy day. And like I said, I just flew in and there's tornadoes and just all kinds of stuff. So I haven't actually listened to it, but I will tell you that nothing physical happened while I was there this time. But I did spend about 45 minutes laying on the floor by myself in the attic.
and in the Villisca Axe murder house.
Yeah.
So
I posted a picture on my Instagram for those who don't believe me.
It's obviously haunted. But when you now, this is interesting to me because you don't have your team there. You don't have the influence. You don't have cameras running. You don't have to perform. You don't have to do things. You don't have somebody else interfering. What do you do on an investigation like that where you are actually there by yourself? So what did you choose to ask? What did you choose to do? Or maybe nothing at all?
So I did a once walkthrough just to see if I felt anything particular, to see if I felt, both intuitively and physically. Were there any unusual cold spots or hot spots, or did I feel some sort of like that kind of like tingly electric feeling? Like, so I did just I walked through every room, and then I did it again with the camera running, just my iPhone, just filming, and then I took 3 pictures of each room. And then I went and sat on the bed in each room and just put my phone on record on my leg and just sat for a minute and just, introduced myself. I said like, hi, I'm Stormy. I was here about 1.5 years ago. I had a pretty interesting experience. I don't know if you guys remember. I know a lot of people come here. Is there anybody here now? I just tried to start a conversation in each room. But I did spend the most amount of time up in the attic. For some reason, that's just kind of what I was drawn to do. And I tried playing. I have 2 phones. I have a work phone and a personal phone, and I had both of them with me. So I used one phone to play music while recording my, filming on the other. And I haven't looked at all of it. I need to do it with earbuds in. I found that's the best way to really get it. And I still haven't checked it all, but I don't think I really got anything this time, which is both like good and bad. I'm relieved and disappointed.
What do you think as we head to the break? Ultimately, what we are dealing with, is it something that is possibly interdimensional? Is it electromagnetic? Are they spirits of the dead? What do you think is doing all of this interaction?
Are we talking about the Villisca Axe house specifically or in general?
In general, when you're on an investigation.
In general, all of the above, or not all of the above in each location, but sometimes it's residual,
right?
Which is like a stain. It's not intelligent. It can't interact, which also means it can't hurt you. Sometimes it is electro frequencies, which can be debunked as something very, normal. Electricity, radio frequency interference from cell phones being on, whatever. And sometimes it is an actual, what you would probably think of as a ghost, a spirit that's been displaced. I think that there are different I'm just now figuring out about this timeline. Sometimes there's elementals. Sometimes they are, I don't like to use the D word. And to be clear, the D word that goes to paranormal, not the D word that goes to the porn star part.
Right.
So sometimes it's that, although I've only come across what I believe maybe is once that happens. And then sometimes there are these non-human interdimensional. And then now I'm just really opening my eyes to the fact that a lot of it could be alien or extraterrestrial, whatever word you want to use in that case. And I have a very interesting theory about that, where if you have two people and they have the exact same experience, they're sitting on their sofa and they look out the window and they see a gray figure with eyes, a scary little creature. If you came from a religious background and maybe didn't watch television, or you live in maybe an Amish community, if you want to go extreme, your initial thing is going to be like, oh my God, there's a demon in the yard. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But then you take the exact same experience, the exact same visual, the creature, figure, whatever, and you drop it in the yard, and this person looks over and they're college educated and they watch television and they're maybe not religious, they haven't read the Bible, they don't go to church, they're probably not going to go, oh my God, it's a demon. They're going to say, there's an alien in my yard. But they could have seen the exact same thing. So how many times are we seeing the same things, but we're just using different words to describe it?
You take that back. You take that back 300 years in Ireland, and it's a leprechaun.
Exactly. What if it's all kind of the same thing, but we just use different terms for it? And then there's this whole other thing that I kind of thought of as maybe it's something that we don't even know about yet. Maybe it's not a demon, an alien, a ghost, a spirit, a Bigfoot, a cryptoid, a interdimensional being. What if it's this whole other thing that we don't know about, as in it's a natural living organism, just like a human being or a dog or a cat, that we just can't see? And there could be one sitting here right next to me that has been coexisting with us this whole time, but something our eyes can't see it. Some animals can't see certain colors. Some people can't hear certain frequencies. What if there is a natural organism, an animal,
a world,
that we just aren't privy to being able to see, but it's right here staring at us right now. So and sometimes we catch a glimpse. The possibilities are endless. And I've seen so many things in the last 2 years that I've learned, never say never say something's impossible. And like I told you earlier, you could be like, Stormy, there's a unicorn in your shower right now. And instead of me going, okay, you're full of it, I'd be like, maybe there's a unicorn in the shower. You know what I mean?
And there probably is.
There could be.
Let's take our break right here. Our guest tonight, Stormy Daniels. This is Faded Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. That's right. It's ghost hunting with spooky babes. Now, she just brought up E.T. I'm going to go there next. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Your 1 million gigawatt paranormal powerhouse, KUNX-DB. The X.
Are you ready to read about true paranormal events? Unex Media publishes nonfiction books about UFOs, ghosts and haunted places, time anomalies, cryptid creatures, and more. Just like KUNX-DB Radio, it's all about unexplained phenomena. Visit www.unexmedia.com to see our list of great book titles by Debbie Ziegelmeyer, Gene Walker, Devin Listrom, Wayne Lawrence, Bill Spicer, and yours truly, Margie Kay. That's unexmedia.com.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to GetTheT.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's GetTheT.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from Rivermoon. Just click on the Rivermoon coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B blend.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact.
When you're in the house for longer periods of time, you can see them flying or running across the floor. Ooh, yuck. They're unhealthy, gross, and disgusting. Bugs. I loathe bugs. We keep a clean home, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. On contact, it kills hidden bugs, including ants, roaches, and fleas. Plus, Orange Guard is a residual repellent. All of the ingredients of Orange Guard are on the FDA generally recognized as safe list. Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard. Available at orangeguard.com, Whole Foods, and Ace Hardware.
Gold loves chaos, uncertainty, and disarray. History shows us what gold does when people aren't sure about the government, the stock market, their jobs, or their retirement savings. Our national debt is skyrocketing. Gold and other precious metals are a defense measure against inflation and a stock market that might take years to recover. So what can you do right now to protect yourself? Call United Gold Group. We offer gold and other precious metals delivered securely within 72 hours. Are you worried about the stock market? We can also help you set up a real gold or silver IRA or a 401k. Safe and secure. United Gold Group makes gold ownership affordable. Call now and get up to $2,500 in free gold or silver with a qualified IRA. Call 800-753-8534. That's 800-753-8534 or visit unitedgoldgroup.com.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Stormy Daniels. Now, I got a couple of texts on my phone, and I was reading some comments out there, and I got an email from somebody else saying that they heard something, and I don't want to say what, because I just want to hear what everybody else is saying. When you were introducing Susan to me, and somebody just said I reacted to it. I didn't think I did. So I'm going to go back and listen, but I'm curious. So I put it out there, and somebody just said they heard Stormy's unicorn. Yes, Sabrina said she heard something strange. Yes, okay, yeah. Very interesting. Okay. Somebody just said, I saw you hear it too. I don't remember reacting to anything. Did you hear anything, Stormy?
I didn't this time, but I will tell you, I've had people in previous podcasts and videos say they heard something. She has a very distinct voice. I guess the best way to test this is if everybody heard the same thing, then it's probably likely. She also does something kind of specific a lot of times, so I'll know if people are like, they'll be like, I heard your doll.
Yeah.
But she has something that she does.
Okay, so don't say anything. I'm very
not going to
curious.
say it, but I'll validate for you later if you want.
Right. Some you can. I think it would be best. Shoot me an email. If you post it, then somebody's going to see it, and then suddenly we've polluted the experiment. Right? We've contaminated the experiment. Okay, now UFOs. What are we going to do with this? I'm talking about our community and us. Today, it's just like the paranormal and the supernatural. It's all over pop culture, television. Of course, this show. We've all had our. Have you seen anything strange in the sky yet?
I have. Let me make sure I haven't. I have not. But I think that's going to change this weekend because I'm going to Sedona specifically to check this out. But I have been in locations where somebody on my team, specifically my DP, my cameraman, Barrett, he is very into the UFO, the alien stuff. And he seems to be able to pick up on that kind of energy, where there's been 3 specific locations in all of our filming where we walked in and I'm like, I'm not really picking anything up. And he's been like, because it's not paranormal. This place is alien. And those 3 places, and I've known this man for over 20 years. Like, He's not prone to hysterics or, he's not woo. Like, I don't even know if he believes in ghosts, to be honest with you. But those 3 places, he had stuff target him. One in particular aggressively target him. I saw it with my own eyes. We had his camera battery burst into flames, and he called it before any of this stuff happened. He specifically was like, oh, this is alien energy. Like, this is bad. And I got there and was like, I don't know what the heck you're talking about. But all 3 times he said, I feel like this is going to be alien vibes. He definitely was singled out. I definitely saw with my own eyes things happen to him. He called it all 3 times. And so I do know that some of the locations that we went to were not your traditional type of ghostly haunting. I was there. I saw it. I saw stuff happen that he called was going to happen.
What do you mean? What do you mean his camera battery caught on fire?
It just, like, we had a whole lighting rig come down while nobody was near it. We had his camera kept turning on and off, and then the battery, he took it out and it caught fire. And I actually filmed it on my cell phone. He got hit in the back of the head going up the stairs. He specifically said that he found the spot in the house what he believed to be a portal. Later we were running an experiment, and sure enough, some stuff happened exactly where he said it was going to happen. I'm not very educated in that, to be honest with you, which is one of the reasons that I am going to Sedona this coming week.
Well,
next week.
I'm just telling you, Stormy, listen to me. You are going to see something in Sedona, and you're going to see probably a lot. And it's a paradigm shifting experience. You need to really mentally warm up for it, because you're in New Orleans, right? You can walk outside right now and look up at the sky. Go and do it. You're not going to see anything. Mm-hmm. It's right. When you get back from Sedona, you're going to be at that same spot in your yard. You're going to be thinking about these words right now that I speak to you, because you're going to be looking up. You're going to be looking up going, there's stuff up there. I may not be able to see it right now, but I know it's there.
Yeah, I already know it's there. I'm not so egotistical to think that we're the only ones out there. It's just not. It's not mathematically possible.
Right.
I'm just telling you, I have not witnessed a UFO with my eye yet.
I can't wait for you to call me. I can't. I can't wait. I can't wait. It's so much fun to do. And here's the other thing: like ghosts, you can't have millions and millions and millions of people crazy with some kind of strange psychosis. What is being seen in the skies, or what is being experienced inside of homes or prisons or hospitals, what have you. This is not some kind of mass psychosis. This is a phenomenon that is real. We just got to figure out what's going on, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And the more we normalize it and I mean, you have to figure, going back to being mathematically possible, there is somebody out there right now that has had an experience or witnessed something or has the knowledge of something that could help us maybe not unlock all the secrets or understand it fully or explain things, but definitely help us move in that direction. There's probably more than one person, but there is someone out there. Hopefully they're listening to us. Maybe they're not. But I guarantee in this world, there is someone out there who has a bit of information and experience, evidence, perhaps even, that could help us, but they are too afraid to talk. They're too afraid to come forward because they're being shamed or thought they're crazy. But just imagine if this was normalized and we were all working together to find the answers. What if it wasn't ostracized? Like everybody could come together right now and look for a cure for cancer and it'd be celebrated and no one would think poorly. If we all came together to try to prove the existence of an afterlife or a ghost or a haunting or a UFO, it's just not acceptable.
What I want to use the word synchronicity, but there is synchronicity, but there's also those breadcrumbs that are laid out in front of you too, as well. That is not necessarily what we would classify as a synchronicity, but is that the universe like running interference to make sure that you follow a path? And do you choose to follow those breadcrumbs? You just said you drove all over the United States last week, right? And
I drove all over Iowa, that's for sure. But yes, I choose to follow them. A lot of people don't. They think that that it's a trap or it's dangerous, or maybe they just don't notice it. They're not open enough. And the more you pay attention, the more you see. And the more that whatever is out there sees that you see, the more it shows you.
And specifically like this Iowa trip, but I want to get back to like the tour bus and how you choose locations. But even the tour bus trip is shooting 13 episodes. That's a string of breadcrumbs from beginning to end, isn't it? One thing is leading into another.
Sort of, like yes and no. See, for when I had the bus and we did the show, we planned ahead each location and booked them in advance. Nothing particularly drew me to them. We were going for name value. We were going for shock value. We were going for what was going to help me sell the show. We went to the Conjuring house. We went to the Lizzie Borden house. We went to Malvern. We went to Villisca Axe house. We went to Ashmore Estates, Vale Mansion, McIntyre Villa. Like we did all those names. You know what I'm saying? Beatty Mansion. I looked those up, read about them. We went to Sally House. We did those places just based on whatever. This trip to Iowa that I had last week was not planned. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to be on another continent doing something completely different. And the synchronicities, like I told you earlier, were like bam, 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 like back to back, all these things that pushed me to Iowa. And there it was absolutely breadcrumbs. I didn't know that I was even going to Iowa until 2 days before I went to Iowa. And it just, I didn't plan to go to the cemetery and look for a woman named Jessica who could give me information. No, I was in the cemetery standing by my car and this woman walked up to me and gave me my next clue. And that's a totally different thing than, it was more organic, a lot more freaky, and very, very strange.
And I don't want to get into specifics because this sounds like a book and a movie all on its own, especially when it ultimately things will resolve itself. But the origin to this is actually, well, sort of, without specifics, your home, right?
Correct.
Correct. And how so many out there, Stormy, would ignore something in your home in New Orleans, and then unexpectedly you're in the middle of Iowa, and
it's all connected.
Right.
Yeah. And the most bizarre, and absolute way, like undeniable way. Like it's not even a, oh, okay, that's a coincidence, or oh, okay, you're reaching there, Stormy. No, absolutely not. This was, and I appreciate you not giving away too much of the details, because I'm not done either. I'm about 80% done with what I'm doing. I'm still waiting for some answers. I don't know if I missed some crumbs or they haven't been sprinkled yet, but I'm not quite done yet. But I told you everything earlier that I knew, and it's pretty undeniable. And I love that it was transpiring in front of so many people, and so many people that are experienced and recognized and respected in the paranormal community. If it was just me running around going, "Oh my God, this happened," but no, it happened in front of people that you and I both know very well.
Right,
and,
right.
People who would not lie for me or about the situation.
Well, including myself, who knew nothing about it until the conversation, and then things that was even for me, because it takes a lot to move me. It does. I've seen it all, right? And so for me to go, holy crap, yeah. And I want to get back to a thought that I had earlier. When I have been, and I've never said this before in my life, but this has been occurring lately, where I am seeing something out of my side vision, right, here at the house.
And that's literally been happening to me for the last 2 days nonstop. It just happened to me 10 seconds ago.
What is going on with that?
Are you seeing? Is it like kind of white, misty, like squiggly things?
I am seeing. You know what? Both. I'm going to say both. It's both light and dark. It's happening so frequently now that I stop reacting.
Yeah, I'm sitting here, and it's probably happened 5 or 6 times since we've been here talking.
And what do you think that is? Is it?
I don't know.
Is it something? I want to ask your opinion. I think
we're starting to see energy.
Yes, and it's just trying to show itself. It's not a negative thing.
No. I'm not scared. I'm sitting on my bed talking to you. I haven't seen anything dark in the last, but I just keep catching it. And not only, and it used to be back here, and now I'm showing my shoulder width, but now it's starting to move more around, and it's, but it almost looks like, what? The best way to describe what I've been seeing in the last, since I came back from Iowa, so let's hope something didn't follow me, but the best way I can describe it is it looks like almost like heat waves, but milky.
I can't figure it out, and I have been telling friends of mine that are investigators about this too as well. I've been getting varying opinions, but nobody is surprised. I'm not the only one.
Sometimes I see the sparkles too, and I don't know, little sparkles. And for any women listening that's ever worn glitter eyeshadow, it's at the end of the night once the glitter is starting to fall into your. But it happens when I'm not wearing anything. So it's sometimes I see these little faint sparkly things, and I've been told everything from that's something in my eye to a brain electrical malfunction to, oh my God, it's fairies, to its energy, to its, that's the point. That's why you and I are having this conversation right now. This is why you have the conversations that you have, and I'm out there driving around Iowa like a lunatic. We are looking for answers.
The aspect of something going on with Susan. Mm-hmm. Now is that a spirit from the past that is with Susan? Susan isn't the only haunted object in this country, right? It happens a lot. Right. What do you think is going on with that? And is it the same connection as, say, the shadow person that you saw when you were 2.5 years old in the basement? Is that something?
I think they're two different things. I think originally, I don't believe that the spirit or whatever is with Susan it's not the little girl that passed away. I believe, and this is strictly my opinion, and I spend a lot of time with Susan, obviously. I believe that when the little girl who had her first passed away and the family said, something's up with this doll now, what the heck is going on? I believe that was residual energy from that child. It might have been partially the child, or it could have just been residual energy, but the little girl was sick for a long time. And this was a long time ago when, this was in 1955. It probably wasn't the best. It didn't have the stuff that we have now.
Mm-hmm.
And so she probably was very scared. She was very sick. She was very lonely. That's a lot for a little girl. And I think that some of that energy just got transferred into the object. It could have been anything. It didn't specifically have to be this doll. Like just all of that. And then I don't know if she died suddenly or if it was, but she probably wanted her mom, and maybe she stuck, people report seeing their past relatives the most immediately after. You know what I mean? They haven't fully moved on or whatever. So I think that initially what was attached to Susan was directly related to the child's death, like directly from that, whether it was energy or the spirit of the little girl herself. Like maybe if they'd have buried Susan with the child, this wouldn't even be a conversation. Maybe she didn't want to leave her best friend, her dolly, behind. I think as time went on, that energy, that pain, that suffering, that fear kind of stuck with the doll. And that's why she got responses of people that maybe were sensitive. They picked up on it. I think somewhere along the way of when I came into the doll's life, that something else more intelligent became part of it. Because to my knowledge, the doll, there are no EVPs or recorded actual movings of the doll before I met her.
Oh, interesting. Where is that guitar today? Do you still have it?
I don't have it. I threw it out when I moved.
Oh.
It was not. I took it to the guitar shop and wanted it to be fixed, and it was just the neck was snapped and splintered, and it was honestly, it was a guitar that I paid like $100 for at Guitar Center. It wasn't anything.
Yeah, but okay, it's gone now.
It's gone.
I was going to ask for the haunted guitar.
I would have happily given it to you. It's been gone for a long time.
And to see if there was something that, carried over.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, that happened so early into this whole experience that I didn't even know that a haunted object was a thing at that point in time. So it never even occurred to me to hold on to it.
Maybe somebody pulled it out of the garbage dump. And they're at home right now going, I don't know what's going on, man. All we got is ghost.
Right.
Since I brought this guitar home, and I want to talk, I'm going to keep you for overtime because I want to get back to the spooky babes and the bus. The investigations that you guys were going on, did you have anything go from the location back to the bus? Did you have anything follow you?
One time, yeah. And I forgot about this, actually. And there are so many investigators that will back this story up. This is a wild one. So we always salt the bus steps, holy water. We make sure we say whatever's here, you can't follow us. We put up a cross. We protect the bus so that nothing attaches. Yes. And there was one time where we were running late to a location, and none of the guys were with us, actually. It was me and Carly and a girl named Beth. It was an all-girl investigation. And it was at a tattoo studio of all places in North Carolina. And we pull up, and it's raining, and we're rushed, and we forgot to lock the bus down. And Carly is a very gifted medium, and she interacts with Susan quite a bit, too. She can read her telepathically, I guess. And for about 2 weeks before that, she kept saying, Susan wants a pet. And I was like, what the hell do you mean Susan wants a pet? Well, she's jealous. Everybody else has a pet. I have a dog. My daughter has a pony and got a cat. Like, Susan wants a pet. Like, great. Now my attachment wants an attachment. Like, what? No.
Right.
So I'm just like, no, this is not happening. We bought her a stuffed animal, whatever. So we're in the tattoo studio and we're investigating, and it was one of the craziest investigations I've ever done. And it was a private case. And we're all sitting and we're rolling cameras, and this happened in front of like 8 people. All the tattoo artists that work there have crazy stories about this place. You've never seen so many like scary tattooed guys scared out of their minds. And we're sitting there, and Susan is sitting on my friend's lap. And at the time she was wearing these little blue sandals, and suddenly Susan was just done. She was ready to go. She shot her sandals off across the room, like both of them shot off her feet, and she was done. And we could just tell she wanted to go back to the bus. So my friend takes her and puts her on the bus. And as she's leaving the bus to lock it up behind her, she says that she heard Susan giggle and this other sound, but she was like, it freaked her out. So she ran back inside. Starting that night, everyone on the bus started seeing and hearing things on the bus. And I remember Susan sleeps in the bunk with me, and I was asleep. And I'm, I have my curtain closed. You're familiar with tour buses.
Yes.
I always take the top bunk. So there was definitely nobody above me, and the bunk below me was a junk bunk. So I'm sitting there, and I went to pull my covers and turn over, and I felt like my dog was sleeping on my feet. We've all had a cat or a dog in bed with us. It felt like there was an animal in that back corner by my feet, except there were no animals on the bus. My dog was at home. It wasn't on the bus. It didn't travel with me. And I was like, there's definitely something heavy down there by my feet. And I kind of was out of it, so I kind of forgot about it. The next day, we stopped to get lunch, and Carly stays on the bus. We all go into the truck stop to get Subway or whatever. And we come back, and she was like, something kept poking its nose and trying to open her curtain. And so she opened it finally. She thought one of us was messing with her. So she opened her curtain and was like, what the hell, guys? And the bunk directly across from her was open, and she said that she saw what she described as a small woodland creature staring at her. And I was like, what? So she spent all day Googling, trying to find a thing, and the best picture she could come up with was what looked like a South American animal called a copperbear or something like that. Kind of like this, like size of a beaver but without a tail. And this little thing was on the bus for like 2 or 3 weeks, and we all saw it, we all heard it. Justin tried to make friends with it and started putting food out for it, but we all had like this. It would make this weird like shuffling sound, like this weird noise, and it would hop from like people's bunks. And so, yeah,
that's officially crazy talk. See that right there? That's officially crazy talk. What?
Yeah.
Now, wait. I've only got 20 seconds.
So we actually named it. We all named it. So if anybody who was on my bus in November of 2020 knows who Creature is, and some other paranormal investigators, like we'd pull up at a place at an investigation, and there'd be other investigators there that weren't part of my crew, weren't on my bus, would come onto my bus because everybody wants to get on the tour bus, and we had alcohol, we have food and drinks and heat.
Right.
So I can't tell you how many times we'd be sitting in the front lounge, and there'd be another paranormal investigator on the bus, and they'd go, what the hell was that? And they'd jump, and we'd all go, what did you see? What did you see? Because we all know what they saw, but we're like, what did you see? And they're like, is there a cat or something on the bus? And we're like, no, what did you see? And they all described a brown furry thing.
Wow. That is awesome. That is okay. Let's take our break right here. Creature. But Creature was a ghost, right? Creature wasn't real.
I think Creature was an interdimensional being or an elemental. I don't know.
I got you. This is Fade to Black, Stormy Daniels. We're going into overtime. Stay with me. We'll be right back.
listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the X.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your girl Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
This is Jimmy Church. Jason Martell's book, Knowledge Apocalypse 10-Year Anniversary Edition, is now available. Most ancient cultures speak of a time when their gods visited them. They never say their gods came from across the ocean or from the mountains. They always came down from the skies. Was ancient man visited by gods or extraterrestrials? We have not been told the full truth about our human past. There was a time when all the ancient cultures lived amongst beings they considered their gods. The search for truth leads us down the path of learning where the ETs might come from and why they are here. To understand some of these advanced topics and learn the truth about human origins, buy the new book from Jason Martell, Knowledge Apocalypse, now in its 10-year anniversary edition, available on Amazon.com by clicking on the banners over on our site, or simply visit JasonMartell.com. That's JasonMartell.com. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Are you ready to read about true paranormal events? Unex Media publishes nonfiction books about UFOs, ghosts and haunted places, time anomalies, cryptid creatures, and more. Just like KUNXDB Radio, it's all about unexplained phenomena. Visit www.unexmedia.com to see our list of great book titles by Debbie Ziegelmeyer, Gene Walker, Devin Listrom, Wayne Lawrence, Bill Spicer, and yours truly, Margie Kay. That's unexmedia.com.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right, 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today, and use coupon code 30daysfree. That's coupon code 30 days free on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
This is Kristen, Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We're going into overtime tonight with Stormy Daniels, who is live from New Orleans. And I just want to say really quick, I was getting some updates fed to me about the tornado there in New Orleans, and our thoughts are with everybody out there that was affected by that. And it appears that it turned deadly. I'm glad that you're safe. How close was it to you, Stormy?
About 5 miles.
Wow, that's just crazy. And again, our thoughts are with everybody in New Orleans, and there's a lot of tornado activity in that part of the country right now. I just got an update from somebody that is in your area saying that the storm is now passed too as well. Back to I want to get back to the bus for a second, and Creature. You said that this lasted for about 2 or 3 weeks, and that Susan wanted a pet. And it sounds like that may have been what is going on. Did you get Susan a pet?
No. So this went on for about two or 3 weeks, and then we came off the bus for holidays, Christmas, whatever. So the bus went back and was parked. And we ended up, when we got the bus back and we went back to filming a month or so later, Creature was not there anymore. I don't know where he went, but Susan, we just made sure that we kept the bus locked down so we didn't pick up any more hitchhikers. But Susan lives here, obviously in my house with me, and I have 2 dogs and a cat. So she has friends now. I think she just wanted some. I don't know. The whole thing sounds crazy. Literally, my friend Carly said, Susan's asking for a pet. I was like, this is crazy. I'm not entertaining this. And then within 2 days, we forget to ward the bus, and this thing gets on that at least, not even exaggerating, at least 20 people saw.
Do you think, now, this is just me, I'm not debunking, do you think that there is a possibility that maybe a rodent could have been living on the bus and just hiding out from everybody and was just really stealth? Like a real creature, a real rodent, This thing
was like the size of a cat, though.
Yeah, I know.
It was like a 15 or 20 pound animal.
Right.
It wasn't a mouse,
it would almost be better than a ghost story. Right?
Yeah. We all saw it. None of us have it on film, but we definitely, I saw it, Justin saw it, Bethany saw it, Carly saw it, my bus driver saw it, my daughter saw it. Paranormal investigator in Florida, not in Florida, in Mississippi saw it, named Eileen Jones. Bud Steele saw it. Who else saw it? I'm just trying to think. Like, so many people saw this thing on the bus, and these aren't people who traveled with me. You know what I mean? They came on to have a beer, or sit down and warm up, and sat down, and they would be talking, and then I would see them go, "Oh God, what was that?" And I'm like, "What did you see?" And they're like, "Do you have a cat? Because we saw something jump from one top bunk to the other." And we're all like, "What did it look like? What color was it?" And everybody gave the same description.
Now, we're in overtime. I like to have fun during overtime, and I'm going to ask you the one question that you've been asked the most, but I just have to know.
36 double D.
No,
Sorry.
Not that. Great answer, though. The scariest location. What's the craziest story you have from the road?
The Conjuring House, by far.
Oh.
The Conjuring House. It was so scary that it was freezing. We were there in November, and obviously that's up in Rhode Island, so it was very cold. It was so scary that I slept in the driveway.
Now, Andrea has been on the show many times, and she's the daughter, right?
Of course, yeah, I know she.
Yeah, she's great, and so I actually did remotely. We did an investigation there. I was the host, but it was during COVID, right? So I was the host, but I was the host here from Los Angeles, and we did a live stream with the investigators that were there. I'm very familiar with the house and the story, and of course the movie and movies. But what happened when you were there?
So that was one of the locations that I was telling you, my co-director, cameraman Barrett says had a lot of alien activity. So that he swears that it's all alien in there. I'm not confirming or denying that. But he definitely, so what happened was the night before we did the Lizzie Borden house, and we did not have the tour bus. These were 2 fly dates. We did the Lizzie Borden house, and then and then the second night was the Conjuring house. So I sent my crew with the big SUV with all the gear, and me and Justin took the smaller rental car and went to Salem for the day, while they went ahead to the location and set everything up and downloaded cards and did all that stuff. So they were there setting up. Justin and I were in Salem getting tattooed by the Murray twins at Black Veil. And the whole time I was there, my crew started blowing up my phone. They're like, this place is so messed up. Barrett just got hit in the back of the head. We're having technical difficulties. Everybody's on edge. Everybody was having weird stuff happen before me and Justin, who even got there. Okay. So a lot of stuff happened. David Childers saw a full body apparition. We got a lot of EVPs. I did a ESSA's or sensory deprivation session in the basement. I still don't know everything that happened because I haven't watched the footage. They won't let me watch it until we have a camera on me to film my reaction.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But this is the craziest thing that happened in my opinion, when we were there. On the way there, I got a bad feeling about, and I don't know why I felt this way, but I got a bad feeling about bringing Susan in. Okay. So when we left Salem, I watched Justin with my own eyes buckle her into the back seat of the car. We got to the house. We were running late because we got lost on the way there. The crew was freaking out. They were ready for us to get there. They were not comfortable at all. We go inside. Justin and I get ready. I leave my backpack because I changed clothes and whatever. I left my backpack and my purse in that bathroom downstairs, and I left the car keys in it. We investigate. We've been going at it for like a couple hours. We split into 2 teams. The 3 guys go down into the basement, and the 3 girls are sitting on the sofa. We're all silent. We're not walking around because obviously they're below us. We're all on our phones, scrolling, whatever. And I just had this bad feeling all of a sudden. I heard Susan scream. This was one of those times that it wasn't audible and it wasn't EVP. I heard her in my head. I was totally distracted. I was looking at Facebook or something. And I heard, "Mommy, please help me." And I stood up to run out the front door, and my car alarm went off. And the keys to the rental car were in my purse on the other side of the house. And now the guys are coming up from the basement. We all run outside, and my car is parked in the driveway, and the car is unlocked. The door is open, and Susan is face down on the ground.
Susan was strapped in.
Yeah, in the back seat, and the car was locked.
And okay, continue. I'm already freaked out. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we all saw it. Everybody will verify. We have it on film. But I mean, I stood up off the couch, turned towards the front door, started to run, and took 3 or 4 steps, and the car alarm went off by itself. The keys were in the other part of the house. The car was unlocked. The door was open. Susan was unbuckled and face down. And I immediately scooped her up and didn't put her down again. And we wrapped up pretty quickly after that. We were all pretty freaked out and tired. And everybody slept in the house, but me, Susan, and Barrett slept in the car in the driveway.
Did you see the white toy box?
I don't know. Is that upstairs in that bedroom to the left?
I think it's in the basement. There's a white box.
Oh yeah, that giant thing.
Yeah, with the carvings on the inside of the lid. Yes.
Yeah. We saw that.
I out of the whole house, I mean, the history and Andrea telling the stories and her mom and of course Andrea's got the UFO ET stories too as well that happened outside. But on the lid is the carving of like the stick figure with the hangman's noose.
Yeah, they were all talking about that, but we didn't focus on it very much. I do remember them talking about it.
Yeah, when you see it though, because you can tell it's a kid, right? You can, and it's old. It's it's been there for a while. But why would a child carve that? Right?
I don't know.
Yeah. Absolutely bizarre. The thing with Susan though. Did Justin go back and talk to Susan or try to figure out how that happened to her?
No, and he's only talked to her the very first night we met her. He doesn't interact with her anymore.
Why? Okay. Maybe he looks haunted, by the way. Justin looks haunted himself. So,
yeah, he might be.
Yeah. And, did you ask Susan what happened?
You know what? I've never directly asked her. Maybe I just don't want to know.
There's some
That's
things.
a good idea, though.
There's some things you don't want to know. Have you? And this is we'll kind of wrap on this. Have you caught an apparition on tape? Because you mentioned, okay, I want to know what you caught and what you saw and what you felt that it is. Was it with night vision camera? Was it with full spectrum? Was it with something else?
The one that comes to mind immediately that's really scary, I think it's one of our best pieces of evidence, was caught with night vision DVR.
And what did you see?
We have a piece of footage from the Vale Mansion where John Bullard is standing in a room in the complete dark, and we have a camera on him. The rest of us are sitting on the other side of the room at the monitor watching, and in the footage there's a doorway behind him, and you see him, he's scared. You see him standing in the middle of the room, and then you see him look over his shoulder like he felt something, and then he turns back, and as soon as he turns back, two big like shadows pass in the doorway, and it's really scary to watch. They're like full like two things, and there was no way that anybody could have done that. There was nobody back there.
And I do you equate those with the same phenomena that you capture an EVP with on a digital recorder, right? That this is somehow manifesting itself. And it's picked up electronically, but we don't necessarily see it with our eyes or hear it with our ears.
That's a good question. I don't know, because it was night vision. I would only be able to answer that if it had been in the light with a regular camera, because we can't see in the dark anyway. It was pitch black to us, except that we were looking at the screen.
Right. And when you hear a disembodied voice as opposed to EVP, a disembodied voice is something you're hearing with your ears. Something has to create it.
Yeah, and I've heard plenty of those too, and they're so scary. I do not like that.
I've only had it happen to me one time.
I haven't. I've had it happen like 10 times, and it's scary.
I still can't explain it. We've been talking about the music industry earlier today. I really know microphones. I know audio. I know how the process is done. I've been doing this for years, and I'm really good at it. And capturing audio. My voice right now, I'm capturing my voice. But it's my voice, my body is creating the sound. When you go to disembodied, my brain can't figure that part out. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, these are all the things that keep us doing, or keep me doing what I'm doing, because I want to know. All right, at least I think I want to know.
Yeah,
I might find out and decide that I wish I didn't know.
Well, and that's the whole thing. And you mentioned this earlier. I did too. Maybe I don't want to know, but here's the other crazy part. It always seems, Stormy, that we are one step away from proof, right?
Yep.
One step away, whether it's ghost, the afterlife, UFOs, Bigfoot, right? We're always, and maybe we're not supposed to find out.
I think maybe they know we're not ready yet. They're like, we want to, but you guys will pee yourselves.
Yeah, and I think you understand what I'm saying. That maybe we are only supposed to be a step away, right? That
Maybe so. I agree, because it's been too many times something happened and right after the cameras died, or all the gear will go down and then something happens. Or we get the best piece of something and we go to load the card and to download the footage and the card erases. Like, I can't tell you how many times that's happened. You know what I mean? Like, we were investigating the Lizzie Borden house and we didn't realize that we weren't the only people there for the night. There was another group that had rented some rooms, and they weren't investigators. They were high school kids, they were a group of kids. They were 18, but they were definitely only 18. And they all had GoPro. And so Barrett or Justin had the great idea. Well, the best way to keep them from contaminating our shoot is to invite them to join it. So they're like, hey, you guys want to investigate with Stormy Daniels and Spooky Babes? And of course they were like, yes. So they just followed us around and investigated, and we got releases on them. They're on the episode of the show, but they all had GoPros. So we had 3 of our cameras. And then I think we had some body cams or DVR or whatever. And then they had GoPros, and I felt something was about to happen. And immediately all cameras went dark, including all those kids' GoPros at the same time.
It is not, I mean, just maybe we're not supposed to figure it out. Too much when it comes to aliens or ET or Bigfoot, right? It's always, it takes you to the edge, right? It takes you to the edge. You're on the edge of the cliff. You got your foot out. You feel the edge of the cliff. You are there, but you don't cross the threshold.
Right. Either maybe they're just teasing us. This is all the foreplay. It's a build-up.
I know, right? What's next, and when are we going to start to see episodes? What's happening with the show?
So we have all the episodes done. They're in editing. They're not finalized because I don't know where it's going to end up. So I don't know for the interviews how much we have to beep out the cursing. You know what I'm saying? So they're rough cut, but we're waiting to find it home. And to be honest with you, we're having a hard time doing that because of who I am, and the networks are scared to touch me, despite the fact that I have the best evidence I've seen, and we're definitely the cutest paranormal team.
I don't. I do get it, but I don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't either, but it's just been this ongoing circle. I haven't pushed it as hard lately. Only because I did a TV show for VH1 that's going to air in late summer, and a lot of paranormal stuff happened on that show, and I did card readings for the rest of the cast. So once that show airs, one, I'll piggyback on their publicity and the money they spent, that stuff, and 2, then the networks might be, well, VH1 did it first. Nobody wants to go first.
Yeah.
So that's my hope. That's my hope. And until then, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, keep investigating. I definitely have to go back to Iowa and finalize this final piece to this puzzle. I'm going to Sedona, obviously. And I know the show is about paranormal, but I do still work in the adult film business. I'm a director for Wicked Pictures, and I do porn to pay for paranormal.
Good on you. and I look forward to our conversation on Monday after Sedona resolves itself. It's going to be a great conversation. Stormy,
yeah, I'm excited. I'll keep you posted for sure.
Be safe out there. You've got some crazy weather going on. Your name is Stormy. You know how to deal with it. Stormy Daniels, thank you so much. Be safe and be well. What a great show. Thank you so much. And with that, I've got to roll straight out of here. I want to, before I get to credits, I want to remind everybody what's happening. Tomorrow night, we have Sean Cahill here. It is a very important show tomorrow night. Again, first-time guest all week this week and last week here on Fade to Black. But Sean Cahill tomorrow night, right at the center of everything when it comes to UAPs, what's going on in Washington, the subject of UAPs, and of course, Skyfort. So we're going to be doing all of that tomorrow night. And then Thursday night is open lines all night long. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What a great night tonight. I want to thank Stormy Daniels. Great conversation. And now we have links for Stormy over on the website, and you can also go and check out the Spooky Babes YouTube channel. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy. SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and this broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2022 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black of the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll see everybody tomorrow night right here with Sean Cahill. Until then, I want you to be safe. It's time to fade to black.